Hey guys, the Flutter Trainer here with another Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile. This one's one I sort of made for my little brother who wanted a spellcaster deck, and well, it's more of a fun deck than a competitive one. I tried making it as competitive as possible. I failed. There's a really deck. I'll go into all of its flaws and all things that are pretty good about it at the end of the profile. So when you think of spellcasters, the first one most Yu-Gi-Oh! Players would think of. Well, that's obviously the most famous card in the game, Dark Magician. Level 7, 2500 attack, 2100 defense. Not too shabby. When you play Dark Magician, who else are you going to see in a Dark Magician along with it? Dark Magician Girl. Two of them, again. Level 6, 2000 attack, 1700 defense, 1700 defense, whatever you say. Gains 300 for each Dark Magician in either player's graveyard. Whenever you see anyone else play a Dark Magician, you will definitely see this skilled Dark Magician. Every time a spell card is activated, he gets 1 spell counter. When he has 3, you can send him from the field to the graveyard and special summon from your hand, field, or hand, deck, or graveyard. Excuse me. So, competitive. All you competitive players who hate this deck as much as I do. Again, this is not my deck, it's my little brother's. When you think of spellcasters in the competitive term, you probably think of High Priestess of Prophecy. That's right, Spellbooks. This card. Reveal 3. You can reveal 3 spellbooks from your hand to special summon her from your hand. Once per turn, banish 1 spellbook card from your hand or graveyard, and then target 1 card on the field and destroy it. Play 2. Probably should be playing 3, but who cares? Because it's a fun deck, right? And she's really expensive. Next we have Triple Temperance of Prophecy. When a spellbook card is activated this turn, on the turn, or sometime during this turn, and it's your main phase, you can tribute this guy, special summon a level 5 or higher, light or dark type spellcaster from your deck. Can't special summon a level 5 or higher monster the turn you activate that effect, so whatever. So yeah, that's really it for spellcasters from Prophecy standpoint. Next we have a lot of support for this deck, which is interesting. We have 2 Endymion, the Master Magician. Alright. You can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard by removing 6 spell cards from the Magical Citadel of Endymion, which is a field spell that is in this deck. When you do, you can add 1 spell card. If you special summon it that way, add 1 spell card from your graveyard to your hand. And once per turn, discard 1 spell card and target 1 card on the field and destroy it. That's good. Magical Marionette. Oh, you sly dog. Alright, so it's every time your opponent activates, so not just you, but every time your opponent activates a spell card, it gets 1 spell counter and increases the attack of it by 200. Attack and defense by 200. As a base, it's a level 5, base of 2000 base attack, and base of 1000 defense. And then you can remove 2 spell counters from it to destroy 1 monster on the field. So, it's good in the sense that, destroy things and stuff. And it's also got that attack, so it's pretty decent if you can actually get it rolling. Next up, you have Magical Exemplar. 3 of them. Every time a spell card is activated, this girl gets 2 spell counters. And then, if you remove spell counters, like, say it's got 4, you can special summon a level 4 monster from your graveyard. Depending on how many spell counters you remove is what level you special summon. So if you got 7, special summon that High Priestess back. Or Endymion, or Dark Magician. Next we have Breaker the Magical Warrior. When it's normal summon, it gets a spell counter. You can remove and when it has a spell counter on it, it gains 300 attack. So it'd be at 19, but it's at a base of 16 right now. And then, if you remove that 1 spell counter from it, you can destroy 1 spell or trap card on the field. And the last monster of the deck, something interesting that we pulled from a Legacy of the Valiant pack, we have a nice little Rainbow Karibo. This card has actually helped him out a lot in this deck. So let me just explain. You can activate the effects of Rainbow Karibo once per turn. If your opponent's monster declares an attack, equip this card from your hand to the opponent's monster, and then they can attack. And then if the other effect is if it's in the graveyard, and your opponent declares a direct attack, you can special summon it from the graveyard. It is then banished when it leaves the field. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. So that's it for monsters. Next we move on to the spells. Yeah, we move on to spells next. Alright, so for spells, starting off, obviously Spellbook cards. So we got 3 Spellbook of the Master. If you control a spell type, spellcaster type monster, reveal one of the Spellbook card in your hand. Target one normal Spellbook card in your graveyard. And it copies the card's name and effect. So, and you can only activate one of this per turn. Next up, we're playing 3 Spellbook of Power. You can target it one face-up spellcaster you control, and until the end phase it gains 1,000 attack, and if it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can add 1 Spellbook card from your deck to your hand, and you can only activate 1 of these per turn, so we're going to run 3 of that. Next up we have 2 Spellbook of Secrets. Add 1 Spellbook card from your deck to your hand, activate only 1 per turn. Whoops. 2 Spellbook of Wisdom. Target a face-up spellcaster and activate one of the effects, and the 2 effects are: it is unaffected by spell cards until the end of the turn, or it is unaffected by trap cards until the end of the turn. Nice quick play. If your opponent pulls a Mirror Force on you, just activate that. Next up, we have 2 Spellbook of Eternity. Target 1 banished Spellbook card and add it to your hand. You can only activate once, 1 per turn. And the last Spellbook card we're running is 2 Spellbook of the Heliosphere. If you have 5 or more Spellbook cards in your graveyard, reveal the top 2 cards of your deck and add any revealed spell cards to your hand, and shuffle the remaining cards into your deck. So you can only activate you can only activate this card once per turn, and you cannot activate any other spell cards you except Spellbook cards. So yeah. Next up, like I said earlier, we are playing everything's just like falling back here. So next we are playing the Magic Citadel of Endymion. Each time a spell card is activated, this gains 1 spell counter. And then if a card with spell counters, like Magical Exemplar, requires you to remove spell counters to activate its effect, you can remove spell counters from this instead. At that point, you can just use that, and then you can even do it again. Like Magical Exemplar, if you've got 7 on this and 7 on Exemplar, special summon 2 Dark Magicians from your graveyard. I mean, how awesome is that? And then once per turn, this card can't be destroyed by card effects. Or no, you can... If this would be destroyed by card effects. Sorry. If this would be destroyed by card effects, you would remove a spell counter from it instead. And if it would be destroyed, remove spell counters from it instead. Yeah. That's nice. Next we have 2 Terraforming to get out those Endymions. You know, just search for a field spell. Oh, here we go. 3 Spell Power Grasp. Place a spell counter onto a monster. Or something that can have spell counters. So like Exemplar, Skilled Dark Magician, Breaker, the Magical Citadel of Endymion. And then they get the spell counter plus an extra one for each one you activate, even though you can only activate 1 of these once per turn. So you got all 3 in your hand. Exemplar, play it. It gets 2, and then you target it with this effect, and it gets an extra 3rd one. Oh. Alright, here we go. Here's the obscure card of the deck, Reasoning. Basically, your opponent declares a monster level, and there's a bunch of just levels everywhere in this deck. So, and then you keep revealing cards from the top of your deck until you reveal a monster card. If that monster is the level your opponent declared, then it goes to the graveyard along with all other cards that were revealed. If not, you special summon that monster, but all the other cards revealed are sent to the graveyard. So if they call like level 6 and you reveal like 3 spellbooks and then a like spellbook of wisdom, power, and heliosphere, then a high priestess comes along, special summon the high priestess, those go to the graveyard, activated effect. Finally, we have the mystical space typhoon, which is just a staple, pretty self-explanatory. No traps in this deck, but I will get to that in a second. Finally, we move on to the extra deck. Just 3 cards, so quick. 1, number 39, Utopia. Detach 2 level 4 monsters. Detach 1. When any player's monster declares an attack, detach 1 XYZ material from this card and negate it. And then 2, number 11, Big Eyes. 2 level 7 monsters. Once per turn, detach 1 XYZ material and target 1 monster your opponent controls and take control of it. This card can't attack the turn you activate this effect. So that's really it for the main deck. I will go over one thing. This is my little brother's side deck. He adds it, but these were not part of the original deck list. So these are 3 traps that he feels could work in this, which I don't disagree. 1 Mirror Force, 1 Magic Cylinder, and 1 Trap Stun. I'm not going to go over their effects in depth because they're not part of the original deck list I made, but those are just some suggestions. So, onto like now that the review's over, how do I feel about this deck? I absolutely hate it. Not because it's not. I don't hate it because it's good. I hate it because it's actually pretty bad. This deck is like you're drawing more spells. I feel like you're drawing more spells than monsters most of the time. And when you do draw monsters, they're not playable right away. And it's just so drawn out. I just don't like this deck. I just thought I'd do a deck review because I took this to school, last day of school. Woo! And I just had to test it out. So I thought I'd do a deck review and my thoughts to the internet on how much I don't care for it. I made this deck too. I just don't like it. It's too clunky. If anything, I'm going to tell him to take his Dark Magician side of it and his High Priestess side of it, and they're going to break up. And we're going to make a Dark Magician deck, and we're going to make a Prophecy deck. That's just how it's going to happen. I can't stress how bad this is. I don't like it. It's just so... How do I put it? It's just unbalanced, I'd say. But, competitively, this might be terrible. As a fun deck, hell, I recommend playing it. If you just want a fun deck, that's fine. Just build this, it's fine. Might be a little expensive for a fun deck, but, hey. What does it matter? There is more to the extra deck, but I just thought I'd tell you that because we're going to be splitting up the deck soon. Alright, so that is all for this profile. Don't forget to give me a like if you enjoyed this fun deck profile. Don't forget to subscribe and comment on your thoughts of this deck or some things we can do for the Dark Magician and High Priestess, or Dark Magician and Prophecy deck. See you guys later.